Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. John here from Wild Boar Cycling. Got something cool to show you today. I just got these rims from Bontrager. These are the Pro 49Vs. The issue for me is it comes with a Rapid Drive hub that will not work with my SRAM setup. I want to use these on my gravel bike for the summer. Want a second set of wheels so I don't have to swap them back and forth off the rims. So I'm gonna build these up to carry that little wider one that I like, and it's going to make it really aero. All right, let's see how this works today. So my first step in this process, and you guys have seen me before do this on another set of wheels from WTB that had a nut on the outside of this for removal. This particular rim setup has this end cap, and I'm using my Unior hub genie to pull this off. So I'm just going to tighten it up a little bit and very gently wiggle it. Okay, I tightened that up and popped it right off. And this is how that, they call it a hub genie works. Now I know some of the folks out there in the interweb will say you can grab a hold of that with some channel locks or some vice grips, but wow, you want to be really safe with this part. You're going to be using something that slides in there and tightens up and expands in there to open that up and to be able to pull that cap off. Next piece is just going to snap right down on top of that. So you can see now without that end cap in place, it frees up the free hub body that I can go ahead and just wiggle a little bit, and just slides right out of there so easy. Now when y'all go to do this, just remember you want to go very slowly because you don't want those paws and springs bouncing all over the place. And there they are, all exposed. Beautiful piece of equipment. Now if you look carefully, when I pulled that out, you can see that one of those paws got left sitting in there, so I'm going to go ahead and take that out very carefully too. One of the things you want to make sure you look for, make sure all those seals and all those lock rings stay right in place in there when you're doing this work. I am going to take the paws off of this Shimano Rapid Drive hub and put those into the new SRAM XDR driver. So here I have, folks, is the new SRAM XDR driver. This is for Rapid Drive 108 points of contacts. 108 is the number of contact points that go inside of the free hub body once you slide it back in. And what I see here, there are little holes in the side. That's where the springs go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to harvest those paws and springs from the Shimano Rapid Drive 108 and put them over here into the SRAM XDR driver. I am noticing one thing that I'm not so sure about, but boy, it looks like this came from the factory this way. There's a lot of light grease on this. I'm not sure that's essential. I think I might put a little bit less in there, but we'll see how that goes here in a moment. I do have some free hub lubrication that I want to put a couple drops in there on. So looking very carefully at the paws, you can see how they have the blade is on one side, and wow, this spring is really, really tiny. So when you're taking them apart, make sure you keep them all on a surface where you can see them. I actually dropped one of the paws in the box when I was actually taking this out a moment ago. And the first step is you want to put the spring, and there's a little indent inside there that's for the spring to sit in, and then the paw actually sits on the top of that and where it's going to actuate. Let's see how that goes. Tuck that spring right into that little gap, and now I'm going to place the paw on top of it. Now, if you keep the old one and y'all keep it all lined up, you'll be able to see which direction so you don't make any mistakes when you put those paws into the sockets. So after a little trial and error, I kind of figured out a cool system to make that a little bit easier. And first I dropped the spring inside that little hole and then lined the paw up on top, compressed it, and then reached in here with a little flat blade screwdriver to hold the spring down while I finished putting it in place. And that seemed like it went pretty well. So now I'm going to repeat that process all around the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these, because you have 6 of them on the inside. Here we go. And it really I'm looking at this, and really thinking that from the factory, there's a lot of grease on here. And I did notice on the one that I took apart that it seemed like there was so much grease that one of the paws was actually sticking down. And all I'm doing right now, if you can see that, is I'm just holding that spring down to slide the paw right in place. And you can just see how it fits right in there. Good. One more to go, and we'll have to check this out and make sure everything's working fine. As I'm coming around to the last one to replace, I just want to show you all what I'm doing. Is I've got this handy dandy little pick I got from Harbor Freight or somewhere. I'm actually putting a spring on it so I can control it a little bit better. And it actually helps me slide it into the little gap in here. Because there's so much grease on this, it's a little bit challenging. I'm going to take this small flat bladed screwdriver, just make sure it falls into place. And while you really want to make sure that while you're doing this, that you have a surface that you're, if you drop one of these little springs or paws or something, that you're able to find them. And I've got this white towel laying here that I'm working off of. And I've dropped it a couple times, but no problem. It's a really small, tedious work here. Whoa, there it went. Well, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by a flying spring, it's really nice to have a piece of cloth down or something, so if something falls, you're going to be able to find it. And boy, I tell you, one of those little springs just took off on me. And now I got another one here I'm going to try to drop into place. And what I've been using is this pick. I take the pick, I put in the center here, drop that right down into the hole. And my trick has been taking the spring, getting in the hole, then laying the paw on top, sliding it into the space. And when I got it there, I take the little flathead bladed screwdriver here and just tuck that spring into place, and there all the paws are, all nice and neat all the way around there. Now, one of the things I noticed when I took them off the one that came stock with the wheel is there was a ton of grease on here. As a matter of fact, there was so much grease on here, I did see one of the paws actually stuck down. And that's one of the things that you want to be careful of, is you want to use some grease, but not so much that it's going to impact the way that the paws are working. Okay, let's put some little bit of lubrication on this guy and see how that works. So I'm going to be using Bontrager Free Hub oil, and it's really got this nice applicator on the top here, because what I'm going to do is, instead of sliming grease all over this, I am just going to put a dot of this oil right behind each of the paws. See how I dribbled that down in there? Nice and neat. Now, when I do assemble this all back together onto the wheel itself, I will put a layer of lubrication, probably some slick honey, on top here to make sure everything stays nice in place. Good, I like how that's looking right now. I'm gonna wipe that and clean that up a little bit, and we'll be ready to put it all back together. Okay, looks like I've got it ready to go for assembly. I like the amount of grease I have in there. So what you're going to do then is just take that, that Rapid Driver and push it onto the axle here. And as I get it down on there, I'm going to take a little twist, because it's going to snap right into place. Got it on. And now, to make sure the paws line up, all you got to do is take a little twist here, and they'll all get tucked into place. Boom. It just snaps right in there, and let's see how that sounds. Oh yeah, that's exactly what we want to hear. Nice. All right, last thing to do is put that end cap on here, and we're ready to roll. I am going to take a little bit of slick honey around the end cap here to slide that on and make sure it's got a good seal to it. You just don't need, I don't think you need as much as what they came from the factory with. I'm going to use my finger here with the slick honey. Just around the end there a little bit. like that Slick Honey lube. It's not quite as thick as some of the other. Now I'm going to put the cap on the top. I'm just going to push and click this guy into place. Well, there you are. Got it all buttoned back up together. It's all ready to go. I don't think I'm gonna put on the brake rotor at this time. I'm gonna wait till I have the whole tire set up, so when I'm messing around with the sealant and stuff, make sure I don't bump into that rotor and bend it or something, because I really do love these rims. These are so beautiful. I can't wait to see how they're gonna look with the 45 mil tires I'm gonna put on it. So, why don't you hang on a second and let's see if I can't drop this cassette into place and just see how it works. So here's my new SRAM Explorer cassette. It's a 1044 that I'm going to put onto my new driver. And this is going to look so great. Boom. Love that sound. Let's get a tool out so I can tighten this down and see how it's really going to work. So with the SRAM cassette, I'm using my Abbey tool here. It's going to lock it into place. I like the Abbey tool because it's got a space there, and I'm just going to start turning this, and it's going to pull it right back onto the wheel itself. And then when it gets snug, I'm going to stop. Tight is tight. What's Brian say? Tight is tight, and too tight is broke. I do it till it stops. And one more little tug. Boom. And we are ready to roll. That is so awesome. So great. Hope this was helpful. Not a real difficult project to do. However, when they say watch those springs, yeah, watch those springs, because I had one flying off here and I had to chase it down on the floor before I can continue on. So, hey, that was helpful. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you, even if you didn't like it, make sure you hit the subscribe button and notify so you know when our next production comes available. And maybe I'll go ahead and shoot some video here about me mounting this tire, and I'll show you how it all looks when I get it all put together. Okie dokie. Hey, in the meantime, go out and ride, have some fun, and keep the rubber side down. Bye, y'all.